Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome back to the Beautifully Unfiltered Podcast. How are you today? I hope you're doing well. And if you've been feeling like you're falling behind in life, like everyone else is moving forward while you're standing still, then today's episode is especially for you. Take a deep breath, relax your shoulders, and for the next few minutes, allow yourself to simply listen. Because today we're talking about something that quietly weighs on so many hearts: the fear of running out of time. Maybe you've felt it before. Maybe you've looked at your life and thought, I thought I'd be further by now. I thought I would have figured everything out. I thought I would be happier. I thought I would be more successful. And if you've ever had those thoughts, please know that you're not alone. More people feel this way than you realize. The problem is that most of us don't talk about it. Instead, we scroll through social media and watch everyone else's highlight reels. We see promotions, engagements, new homes, business successes, graduations, vacations, milestones. And little by little, we begin measuring our lives against theirs. Without even realizing it, we start treating life like a race we're afraid we're losing. Somewhere along the way, many of us created invisible deadlines for our lives. By this age, I should have a career. By this age, I should own a house. By this age, I should be married. By this age, I should have everything figured out. But who created those timelines? Who decided that your life has to unfold at the same pace as someone else's? The truth is that life doesn't come with a universal schedule. There is no master calendar that determines when success is allowed to arrive. There is no rule that says healing must happen by a certain age. There is no deadline for finding purpose. And there is certainly no expiration date on becoming who you're meant to be. Yet many of us live as if there is. One of the most dangerous habits we develop is comparing our chapter 3 to someone else's chapter 20. We compare our beginning to someone else's middle, our struggles to someone else's victories, our behind-the-scenes moments to someone else's carefully edited highlights. And then we wonder why we feel discouraged. The truth is, you have no idea what someone else had to go through to get where they are. You don't know how many failures happened before their success. You don't know how many tears happened before their smile. You don't know how many times they wanted to quit. Comparison only shows you a tiny piece of someone's story. But somehow we use that tiny piece to judge our entire life. And that's simply not fair to ourselves. I think one of the greatest lies we tell ourselves is this: if it hasn't happened yet, it's never going to happen. But life has a funny way of surprising us. Some people find love later than expected. Some people discover their purpose later than expected. Some people start over later than expected. Some people succeed later than expected. And yet, when it finally happens, the timing often makes perfect sense. Because growth isn't always visible. Sometimes the most important seasons of your life look ordinary from the outside. Sometimes you're building strength. Sometimes you're learning wisdom. Sometimes you're healing wounds. Sometimes you're becoming the person who can handle the blessing you're asking for. And all of that matters, even when nobody else can see it. There is so much pressure in today's world to constantly achieve, to constantly produce, to constantly move forward, to constantly prove yourself. But you're not a machine. You're a human being. And human beings are allowed to move at different speeds. You're allowed to rest. You're allowed to change direction. You're allowed to start over. You're allowed to take longer than expected. You're allowed to not have all the answers. Life is not a competition, and your worth is not determined by how quickly you reach a milestone. Maybe you're listening right now and you feel stuck. Maybe life hasn't turned out the way you imagined. Maybe you're carrying disappointment. Maybe you're questioning yourself. Maybe you're worried you've missed your chance. If that's you, I want you to hear this. Your story is not over. One difficult season does not define your entire future. One setback does not erase your potential. One delay does not mean denial. Just because something hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it never will. Sometimes life is still preparing you. Sometimes the lesson comes before the blessing. Sometimes the foundation must be built before the house can stand. The older I get, the more I realize that life is not about arriving first, it's about arriving whole. What good is reaching a destination quickly if you're exhausted, lost, and disconnected from yourself when you get there? What good is achieving success if you sacrificed your peace to obtain it? Sometimes slowing down isn't falling behind. Sometimes slowing down is wisdom. Sometimes slowing down is healing. Sometimes slowing down is exactly what you need. And maybe that's what someone listening today needs to hear. You do not need to have everything figured out. You do not need to know exactly where your life is heading. You do not need to compare your timeline to anyone else's. You do not need to panic because your journey looks different. Different does not mean wrong. Different simply means yours. Your path is yours. Your timing is yours. Your growth is yours. And your story is still unfolding. Beautiful souls, if you've been feeling behind lately, I hope this episode reminds you of something important. You are not running out of time. You are growing. You are learning. You are becoming. And some of the most beautiful chapters of your life may still be ahead of you. Trust your journey. Trust your pace. Trust that where you are today is not where you'll be forever. Keep going. One step at a time. One day at a time. One chapter at a time. If this conversation touched your heart in any way, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe for more real conversations about love, healing, self-worth, and life lessons. And if there's a topic you'd like me to talk about in a future episode, feel free to leave it in the comments. Be kind to yourself. You are not behind. You are not too late. And you are not running out of time. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode. This is Maya from Beautifully Unfiltered Podcast.